The, the CIU crew is back once again with a full-length episode, and tonight we have a couple of heavy hitters. These two films are genuinely disturbing and provided me with some super unsettling images and scenes. Tonight we're chopping up the heralded 2014 movie The Babadook, written and directed by Australian filmmaker Jennifer Kent. We're pairing that with the 2018 classic Hereditary by highly regarded director Ari Aster. We thought Sledd season was over, but once again, all the Sledd heads get to bask in another pairing conceived and brought to you by CIU's own wild child, Michael Sledd. With that said, Sledd, you want to let us in on how you came to pair these two films, and then we can jump into chopping them up proper?
I mean, just, the first time, I think I saw the Babadook before. I mean, it came out before Hereditary, so I saw it before Hereditary. I didn't see either of them in the theater or anything, but I saw them both pretty soon after they came out. And they just, something about them reminded me of each other when I watched them. I mean, there's things that they haven't obviously got the mother and child kind of pairing thing going on. And
yeah.
Other it's just in the intensity. Both the movies I feel like are very heavy and kind of unpleasant like to watch. So I find them, I like them a lot, but they're uncomfortable. Like, they're not easy to watch movies.
No.
I don't feel like they're definitely like just heavy feeling. Like the Babadook probably more so even than Hereditary, just because the fucking kid is so awful in it. But like so that they just always like they're the vibe of them like always felt very similar to me, or like had a lot in common to me, and so that was kind of the idea behind pairing, or why I thought they would go well together.
Yeah, I feel like, didn't it come up? So I had never seen the Babadook before.
I hadn't seen it before.
Oh, really?
Either.
Okay.
No,
really?
Well, not.
Oh, wow.
And before Sledd ended up proposing that pairing, I had just watched it. And that may be how we came to even have that conversation. I'd watched it and I was like really scared watching it. Something about the shadows, everything's at night, and it's that boogeyman in the corner of the room. That deal.
Creepy movie, like for sure.
I think the sound too is
like the chittering and like the
enough with the insects chittering.
Yeah, the soundboard is that does a number on you.
It worked by whoever did it. I don't like it.
Yeah,
but.
And then and then pairing them, like you said, I think both of them are relentless, and that's what makes them good. But also, these are relentlessly down, sad, horrific movies. And like you said, they're not I don't say they're not rewatchable. The Babadook, actually, I did not find rewatchable. I tried to watch it a couple more times, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't want to do this again. The plot is not hard to understand.
Yeah.
Hereditary is rewatchable, even though it's brutal as well.
It's disturbing, but the Babadook is actually I think it's stressful. Right?
It is. It's anxiety producing, but also now I always do the research. I listen to the podcast, we read online, we do all the stuff, and there's a lot of consternation around. Is this grief porn? Both of these movies, is this grief porn where it's just like they're going to throw grief on top of grief on top of grief at you, and it's sort of like, like the same indictment that is thrown upon like the Saw franchise for just being, gore porn or whatever they want to call it. Is that what we're looking at here, or is there something more to it?
I think so, because I feel like there's something more to it. I mean, at least with Hereditary.
Yeah,
Hereditary definitely went back more, especially with the whole there was this sense of generational, something generational within Hereditary, versus the Babadook was something that had happened like right away, right?
Yeah.
And it was just simply, the father passing, where I feel like Hereditary is the name. Like, it goes back. It's not just like, oh, this is death and grieving, but it's generational.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's too much metaphor involved in both of them to really be like, just like to label them as like, oh, like, what'd you say?
Grief
porn. Grief porn. Like,
I think that's right.
There's too much metaphor as far as like I don't even pretend to understand all of it when they made it, but there's too much going on as far as some of the plot choices and the stuff that they do, for it to be just like sloppy, like, oh, this is just like, let's just make the saddest thing ever.
I think specifically if you look at Hereditary, even if you put yourself inside of the plot, Payman it has a reason to kill Charlie, right? Like it's not grief for grief's sake, right? Like plot wise. But I understand the point that, like, I understand why someone might think that, like, knee-jerk.
The reason being because Paimon prefers to take a male body forms, preferably someone who's lustful and naive or something to that effect.
But what I was saying is that I understand why someone might label these initially as like, oh, is that grief porn or whatever? It's because they're fucking sad. They are really sad. Like, especially the Babadook is extremely intense, and it's about like not only working through grief, but living with, like, the Babadook's still in the basement. Like, at the end of the thing, it's still there, right? Like,
well, I mean, I think in that shapes. I mean, we've all had here on the show. Everyone has their own cross to bear, for lack of a better phrase, but. You know, I'm pretty familiar with grief, right? And I don't know that I believe it ever goes away. You learn to live with it. And I think it gets smaller, it gets shaped, it gets worn down like water over a stone, but it's there and you just learn to live with it. And I think as the mother and the son, Samuel, when they confront that shared grief at the end, I think that's ultimately what it is. It's a reckoning with, this is not going to go away, but we understand how to deal with it, how to live, how for it to coexist alongside us without consuming us and terrifying us and fucking us up in so many ways, you know? And
did you know that the director, Jennifer, hold on, give me a second. It's Jennifer Kent. Thank you. First directed a short that is the seed of Babadook,
the prototype,
right? Which I haven't watched yet. I just found out about it yesterday, so I want to see it, but I haven't seen it yet.
Did you know this movie that the Babadook was like sponsored, was like paid for by the Australian government?
What?
Mm-mm. I see. Well, the Canadian, I think it's the Canadians,
like trying to advance. To advance like the Australian film industry or something.
Yeah, advance the what, Sled?
Australian film industry or something.
I think so. I think it's sort of like NPR, like how our government funds NPR. I think it's sort of like that. And we don't do that with films, like especially like indie films, art films, but they do in Australia. I thought that was kind of cool. At least
I think they do the same thing in Canada, but I might be wrong about that. But it's really cool. I wish we did.
Yeah. I mean, Sled, the pairing was pretty slick because not only do you have like scene for scene in a couple of beats, right? Obviously, I guess we sort of presume the rundown. We'll get to the rundown in a second, but you have the beheading of the father in the Babadook, right? Which happens when she's pregnant and she's actually on her way to the hospital to give birth to their first child. They get in a car accident. He gets his head chopped off. And then also, obviously, the daughter, Charlie, in Hereditary, gets her head chopped off in a car accident, similarly. And then, obviously, the ensuing grief for family members and the protagonist for both movies. You have the mother-daughter relationship or mother-son relationship, the parent-child relationship dynamic that you also mentioned, Sled. There's a lot of different through lines for this. I even thought the hereditary aspect of it is also evident in both. Obviously, it's front and center in Hereditary, right? The eponymous. But in the Babadook, the grief for me, I mean, she's clinically depressed. It's been 7 or 8 years since it happened. She hasn't had a relationship. Her sister basically gives her the business at some point in the movie and says, you haven't fucking moved on. I don't want to be around you. You're miserable. Your child is irritated. I don't want to be around him. I mean, there is obviously a genetic component, right, to clinical depression. I think that's very real. I think for Hereditary, the clinical, the component, the genetic component is like psychosis and what was the other thing? What are they, what did she say it was? Dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah.
I mean, all these this is like real diagnosis, DSM statistics manual of mental health disorders, like 101. You can just page through them. I mean, she attributes half the family tree to dying by suicide, starvation, schizophrenia, all those different things going on at once. So there's that genetic aspect is definitely a through line for both.
Is she supposed to, I could never figure out, is she supposed to like know at all that her mom was like in a coven or whatever?
I don't think she is. And the reason why I say that is when she finds the photo album, she seems she's like, very shocked by, I mean, she's very, very shocked when she finds Joan. I think it is.
She knows
Joan.
her mom's fucking weird, right? Like
she knows her mom's weird, but she doesn't know.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's the eulogy. God, what a fucking shit eulogy. She gives a eulogy for her mother in Hereditary, and it's essentially, she starts off like, she was very private. You know, I almost feel guilty even talking about her right now, but you know, it is what it is. She was very secretive. I don't recognize many of the people here today, but that basically tracks with what I knew of my mom. Like, this is not a fucking great eulogy. This is like for someone that was feared and reviled, but somehow it's always even being abused, and surely her mother was abusive. It always seems that way, that even though you should hate that person, if they're your mom or your dad, you end up still loving them despite the abuse. That's what she's caught in, because the first child they have, Peter, the boy, she manages to keep her mother at bay while he is an infant and a toddler in initial stages of childhood. Then she folds when she has Charlie, and she lets her grandmother back, or the mother back into the picture. And as she says, you know, she got her hooks in her or something to that effect. And so she can't quit her mom. She loves her mom despite all of this shit. But no, I think that was a revelation, Sled, to answer your question, that she didn't have any idea exactly what was happening.
Because for some reason it reminded me a little bit of, what was that shitty fucking movie that you made us watch where the grandfather was like the leader of a cult?
Oh yeah. What was that?
Which one?
Oh, Pumpkins.
It's like the weirdest. Yeah.
Oh man, are you kidding me? Hack-O-Lantern? Fuck.
Hack-O-Lantern.
Where is the blood? Oh god.
Yeah.
I just remember the scene with the pickups and the pumpkins. That's.
Well, I mean, because that movie had a lot of like civil, like generational stuff going on in it.
Yeah,
too, right?
yeah, and
in its way.
But the mother knew in that. That's why I asked, because the mother knew in that. Like,
yeah, she knew that it was all. No, it's different here. But these are both horrifying movies. I mean, there's a requisite amount of gore, blood. There's a requisite amount of really creepy, unsettling imagery. There's
there's legitimately scary. Personally, I find that movie.
Which one? Oh,
Hereditary. I find it legitimately scary, but I find Babadook intense and kind of uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
But the scene with like the mother in Hereditary, where she is clinging to the ceiling, in the shadows and stuff like that, I'm like, I gotta leave. I gotta go.
I mean, it's a good movie. I mean, probably the biggest scene for me almost is the scene where after the son kills the daughter, essentially while driving.
Yep.
Like the that whole scene, like it's interesting. It almost feels disassociative when you watch it, because like the reaction is so like and I thought it's really well done. It's almost like you would be in shock, right? And so it's like even like your response to it, like, and I thought they did a good job of like portraying.
The young actor did a great job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's phenomenal. Alex something. I mean that. Yeah, you get onto the idea of trauma.
I can't imagine how mad. Like, I mean, that was. I mean, they didn't go into it. Like, I mean, they didn't make it like a focal point, but like how mad like that have to be for the mother. Like, that's what I'm watching, and I'm imagining like how you respond to that as a parent. Like, if your fucking kid like and then leaves them and drives, like you would just be like, it's just like, I don't know, wrapping your head around it is fucking like hard.
I actually got it when Peter. I mean, it's trauma, and that's another theme that cuts through both films. He's completely traumatized. He freezes. He shuts down, and drives. He doesn't want to. He doesn't even look in the backseat. He doesn't see the corpse. Yeah. He doesn't. He just sits there in the middle of the fucking desert or wherever. I think they're in Colorado, but it's the middle of nowhere in Utah. And drives and then drives home, like you said, goes to bed. He doesn't sleep. He's terrified. He's frozen with fear. He lies in bed all night until the rest of the evening, until the sun comes up, and the camera never leaves his face. And you just hear the muted screams from outside once the mother discovers the body. And then that does come, you do get that later when they're at the dinner table scene, Sled, where there's just this palpable silence and there's just anger, just sort of held in abeyance, right? Just sort of floating above the table. And I think he just makes an offhand comment. He's just, God bless this kid. He's trying to, hey, Dad, this food's really good. Thank you. And she just... when you're so pissed, you just like anything that anyone says or does, you just can't fucking choke it down. And she does it. And he finally is just like, what, Mom? Like, just say it. Say what the fuck
you want to say something?
And so sure enough, she finally gives him both barrels and then it really degenerates. But yeah, how do you deal with that? You never recover from that. Again, we're talking about that trauma, that grief never goes away, just gets shaped and reshaped and whittled down. But there's just no way. I think they're irrevocably broken, and that is what Ari Aster does so well, but it is also what actually wears you down as a viewer, in my opinion. It's like
I kind of like the metaphor to some extent that the girl's death essentially consumes them in the end, right? Like he becomes her in a way as like a metaphor of like he was consumed by her death and like in that essentially became her,
literally and figuratively. Yeah.
That's also a theme between the two movies is the what would you call it? Like traumatic resentment, right? Like both mothers resent their sons, right?
Yeah.
Because of the trauma that is brought into their life, one way or another. Like I don't know if you guys remember this, but Babadook, in that. The boy, I forget the boy's name, but he's never had a birthday. There you go. Never had a birthday of his own. Right? Like, and that's why it's such a big deal at the end where they have a birthday party for him. He's never had it because it's the anniversary of
shared it with. Right. And he shares it with his cousin.
Right. Whose birthday is
sort of
close, I think. I don't know if it's the same day.
And it's to offload. Yeah, it's part of the mother never wanting to address that, right?
Yeah. And it's very much like what happens with Charlie in Hereditary, right? Like where it's what's her name? Is it Anthony Collette? What is her name?
Toni Collette.
Toni Collette.
One of my favorite actresses, by the way.
She's great.
Like I have loved her since I saw Muriel's Wedding in high school with my mom. Like I fucking love her. I will watch any movie she's in.
Like
she's
Jesse and I were talking about it. Alex Wolff is the kid's name. Peter.
Yes, he was phenomenal too.
Toni Collette just act fucking circles around everyone. The young girl was good too, but she's gone in 20 minutes. Right?
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
And they kind of did a good job of like not revealing that. I can't remember when I watched this movie, if I saw it in the theater or what, but watching it the second time, I felt like I understood it better. I followed it better. Maybe the first time I wasn't really paying attention. I'm not sure.
I just think
but it had been long enough.
Ari Aster.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I ever watched it was I did like a background watch. I was staying at a hotel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, 45 minutes into it, like I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, and I turned it off because like I was like, it's not a movie you can background watch because there's too much like weird shit going on, and if you're not like paying attention, you'll just be like confused.
Yeah, and I feel like I might have watched it with other people, which, you know, when you watch a movie, like when you rent a movie,
it has to be very light. Right,
yeah.
And this is neither of these are light movies, as we've said several times.
No.
I mean, the acting in both of them is just phenomenal, like we said. In fact, when you look at Hereditary, at least for the nuclear family, it's Charlie, Peter, Toni Collette as the mother, and Gabriel Byrne as the dad, who will always, forever for me, be Dean Keaton from Usual Suspects.
That was his name.
That's his. But honestly, I feel like he's the weak link. I don't know if it's at that part wasn't written as well as it could have been, or he's meant to be like a wet blanket kind of dud, but there's not much for him to do other than sort of hem and haw about like, we gotta.
Yeah.
He doesn't strike me as a wet blanket. Like, he doesn't look to me like a dud, right? Like you said. So I think that's probably just a miscasting. You know what I mean?
Well, he doesn't do anything. He's just he pats Peter. I'm sorry, it's okay, bud. It's like, no, it's not okay. My mom just told me she tried to fucking abort me 50 times and threw herself down the stairs. Like, it's not okay, Dad. Like, you know, to his credit, he does bang down a bunch of Ambien or whatever he does that night to try to get some sleep. That's about the best thing he does.
When Toni Collette,
I feel like some of it maybe is he's supposed to be. I mean, he's somewhat in like. I don't know. It's like such a weird, like, what do you do in that situation? Because you've got so many different, like, I'm sure he's fucking pissed at the son too, but then he's also like he's trying to be a good dad, but then like, it's like you're getting pulled in so many directions. You probably feel like there's nothing you can say that's going to be the right thing. And that could like, the demonstration of that as a character could be being a dud almost. Like where you're just going to,
I kind of feel like, as a parent, like your number one charge is to protect your children, right? And I don't mean in some fucking machismo, make sure I beat up someone. No, I just mean like emotionally they need to be safe. And the mother obviously is spiraling and losing touch with reality and is extremely abusive to Peter. And at some point, and he's a shrink too, right? By avocation, right. He should have taken his teenage son and left and checked into a hotel, and they had plenty of money. You could stay at a nice hotel for a month or two with no problem, and say, you know what, we're not here for this. Here's my associates. I can get you help for this. We can get you somewhere, but you're not going to walk around and fuck up this house and fuck up the only kid we have left. It's not going to happen.
I feel like he was just too struck with grief.
Yeah, he's like paralyzed.
I don't think he could do that.
That and the influence of a demon and the cult, right? Like,
he wasn't under the enthrall to the demon or the cult.
Outward influence. If you think about it, like they're pressuring through Joan, they're pressuring Toni Collette, you know, to go in directions the entire time, like to try.
I don't give a shit if I'm the husband and I have one kid left on the planet. I don't care how my wife came to be that way. If she is acting that way for whatever the reason or motivations, it's a non-starter.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's true, but
he doesn't have to be you to not be a dud, though.
He doesn't have to be. Well, anyone who's not me is still his own.
I think it's just the character's complicated in that way. I mean, he's obviously his performance is not as like in your face as the other ones. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, because he probably feels some attachment to her. He doesn't want to.
Right, he doesn't want to abandon her.
He probably. I would have to think that he would also, to some extent, empathize or even sympathize with her approach on it. Like, I think you'd be fucking pissed at that's like the, you know, it's like you're wanting to forgive your kid for doing it, but it's also at the same time you'd be like would be mad. Like you would have that in you, like to where you would like resent it. I just don't see any way possible to not resent them for it, even though you know, like in theory you shouldn't, and they didn't want to. Like,
I mean, Peter kind of has a point though. But what about you, Mom? Charlie didn't want to go to this fucking party. You made her go. You know she's got some. I mean, are we like so? Let's get into Charlie's. I guess we should probably do the plot at some point, right? For each of these, Babadook is pretty relatively easy. You're looking at a mother who is pregnant with her firstborn on the way to the hospital to give birth. They get in a car accident. The father is decapitated and dies on the scene. Child is born. We're 7 or 8 years later, and the kid's all fucked up. He's a problem at school. He's a problem at home. They end up opening this book up one night.
On my TV screen.
There's a problem on the TV screen. There's a problem to Sledd. Sledd wants to choke him out. And they end up reading this.
That's why I said the Babadook was right.
Yeah, I agree with you, Sledd. I was like, stop.
And they come upon this book, this child's book, and it's this book telling about this weird figure, which I did look up the lineage, was some movie, it's a London film in the 1920s that it was that the image was based off with the top hat.
Yeah.
I can't recall the name of it.
The name is an anagram for bad book, but
right, something like that. But in any event, so they're consumed by grief, and they're visited by this spirit, for lack of a better term, and haunted by it. And there's visions of grief, and the mother descending to madness, and visions of hurting her own child and killing the family dog. And then with Hereditary, it's more complex, but the same touch points are there. You've got a nuclear family. Grandmother dies at the outset of the movie. The adult daughter, the matriarch of her family, basically uncovers that she was a
cultist.
She was a cultist. She was a member of a cult who summoned the 8th demon from hell, something to that effect, named Paimon.
AKA
Paimon. And that demon is ruining the family, and there's some sort of, let's say many deaths ensue as a result of that. But so that's what we're looking at for each of them. I don't know. I felt like Charlie, here's what I wanted to ask. Was Charlie special needs 1? 2? No? And
No.
2
in the Babadook?
No, Charlie,
No.
the daughter in Hereditary.
No, I thought maybe. I mean, I didn't think it was overt. I mean, I think she could maybe be like
mildly autistic or something.
Special needs, but on the spectrum, she neurodivergent. I guess
she was neurodivergent.
Fucking weird.
I mean, I'm
normal kids are also fucking weird.
All 4 of us are neurodivergent. But
wait, you think I'm neurodivergent?
Well, what would make you say that about me?
I mean, ADHD qualifies as neurodivergent, so
I'm not ADHD.
I'm taking that they classify it as being neurodivergent. So
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening.
No, but so then if she's not, or if she is, but the other question about Charlie was, the grandmother got her quote unquote hooks into her almost at birth. She breastfed her, in fact,
which is one of the more disturbing fucking things about that the grandmother for the
Sled, don't think too hard about it. It doesn't work. She couldn't have been fucking lactating. She was an old biddy. You old silly cow.
I mean, she was in a coven with a demon, so that could help it.
Maybe they have hookups, right? But my point is,
you think mom might have been like, "Hey, what the fuck
that
is
is
going
interesting
on?"
point where it's
she's a sheep, dude. If you want to feel like a great parent, watch both of these movies because the mothers are absolute dog shit as parents.
Just mom in the Babadook is okay, honestly.
She tells her son, "Are you hungry? Go eat shit." She cuts the line.
I bet you've said some mean things to your kids before. She's been raising that kid for however long as a single mom.
7 years.
And now, like, he's got a fucking demon book. I mean, that would be the last straw right there.
That's why I'm not. That's why I'm not a mom, because I would not want to deal with it.
I mean, obviously, she wasn't an ideal mom, but I think she was better than Tony.
We have a family rule. We have a family rule. If you bring home a demon book, then you're grounded.
The Necronomicon, right?
Go to your room, right? Like that.
Well, I was going to go to was Charlie Paimon. Was Charlie the whole time we knew her? Was why she's so weird was because she was possessed by the demon.
I don't think this. So I think she was a vessel being prepared for Paimon when the grandmother died. I don't think Paimon could take them until they reach a certain point. But that
I think
that
she was
the
weird because her
impression.
grandma nursed her.
Yeah,
That
I mean,
would
she's just
never-
weird.
We're gonna end up weird if that's if that's an indication of the overall environment that you're growing up in. I think you're gonna be a little off.
There's no one who came out completely normal from their from being breastfed by the grandma.
Like, was mom like it'd be one thing if mom was unable to breastfeed her and it was like
I missed that part.
grandma happened
Thank
to
God.
be
Well, how you
It's
see
real
it, Jeannie,
weird.
well, how you missed it is because so the mother in Hereditary is an artist, right? And does miniatures, and she has her own studio in the house where she's creating these miniatures, which really reflect her own life's experiences. It's all very personalized. It's all very discreet. And one of the scenes, and that's another thing with the cinematography is just incredible in Hereditary. A lot of it is filmed like you're looking at one of those miniatures, like that dinner scene that I was talking about where they're going at each other. It's from the angle of the camera is from slightly above and off to the side. And it's almost like you're looking down at one of the miniatures that the mom would sculpt, would create. But, but yeah, that's what I was going to say is I don't understand like the Paimon history of like where he came into being and how, like, because the pictures that are eventually dug up of the grandmother, she's being showered with coins in the gown, which means she successfully summoned the demon. But that happened before. Those pictures antedate Peter's being possessed by. What is it?
From what I remember, they don't say this explicitly, but I gathered it from it, is that there's a difference between invoking the demon and providing a vessel for the demon to settle into. Right? Like, so the grandmother was being showered with
coins and
riches and success and all that for being a loyal subject and, worshiping this demon. But like her charge as like a high priestess of whatever was, her and Joan seemed to be like the head of the thing, right? Was to find a vessel for Paimon, like to inhabit our world. And that's where the end of the movie is. It is that, Paimon comes into our world at that point and lives inside Peter. Right?
Like, sort of fulfilling the prophecy.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, and I don't think there's many directors who could pull that movie off. I think Hereditary's really, really good. And I will say there's some real disturbing shit in it. Like the weird, creepy, naked people that are like all over the fucking place in the shadows.
Or who do you think desecrated the grave?
I don't know.
The cult, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
I thought just members of the cult, Joan and her people, right?
Yeah, more broadly, yes. Like if it's specific, I have no idea. You know what I mean?
But that's also, we talked about the relationship aspects parentally, but there's also like this sort of discrete siloing of information and miscommunication and how people keep things to themselves, right? We start with, at least in Hereditary, the eulogy, like we mentioned, describing how the grandmother kept everything secret. But like the husband, Gabriel Byrne, has the images of the desecration of the grave. He keeps it secret from his wife, right? Oh no, they're just talking. They just called, the cemetery called about some money issues or some billing issues. I'll take care of it. But Jeannie, obviously there's more stuff.
Jesse's 100% right about that. I just remembered. The reason I can say definitively it's the cult that did it is that you remember at the end of the movie where the staged environment where Paimon is like coming into the world and there's three decapitated bodies. Maybe it's two bowing.
Yeah.
Right. One of them is the grandma.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, she's up in the floorboards in the attic, or is Charlie?
Yeah, she's
Charlie's
up in the attic for a while, right? Like,
yeah, they dug her up, and and all of those those the same imagery is there with the bird that smashes into the window, and then Charlie cuts the head off of the bird. Everyone's being beheaded is the same thing, because they want that altar at the end with all these beheaded corpses.
Leading to Toni Collette sawing her head off,
sawing her own head off.
Wire.
Fucking hard.
I never seen
that.
Awesome.
Insane.
Life. That was like,
his horror when he scrambles away from her and runs to the attic, and now their relationship as we know it is already fucked prior to the stuff with Charlie and him accidentally killing his sister, because the mother is having night terrors, sleepwalking episodes. She awakes. It's fucking psychosis. I don't know. She's dousing herself in paint thinner, dousing her son in paint thinner, and then while he's sleeping, and then she lights the match to immolate her child, and wakes herself up from her sleep, and wakes him up, and they never really cleared the air about it, but he thinks she was trying to kill him, and then later in the movie, she tries to kill him.
Right? Yeah, like. Yeah, Jesus Christ. A movie's so intense, and it's one of those things where you think it won't get any more, or it couldn't get any more intense than where it is, and then it goes a little bit further, and to where you end up in this kind, or at least for me, you end up in this kind of weird, what did Sled? What did you say earlier? Like disassociative state, right? Where it's like you're watching the very end of the movie, where you come up into the treehouse, right? The thing, and it seems like you're floating as the audience in it, right? It's a very, very well done, creepy ass movie.
Well, there's definitely layers to it that don't exist in Babadook, and they're different movies in that way, where the Babadook is concerned with a singular message, which is, confront and manage your grief in a healthy, constructive way, right? And it's the whole thing's an allegory for that. Hereditary has that element, but it is much more, it's many tentacled, right? It has all of the different facets of occultism, and like we said, these genetic deficiencies, for lack of a better expression, and familial relationships, and grief and trauma, and horror and terror, and it's just like, it's just wild. I mean, there's just so many ways to go, and it all ties together so beautifully. Our Oster's doing something different.
What you called him, a virtuoso the other day?
Yeah, he's a virtuoso. I mean, he is a virtuoso. All of the images, all of the weird words that are scrawled there, right? Mm-hmm. Pandemonium and all of the other ones are all. I mean, there's one of them is inscribed on the telephone pole that Charlie gets killed.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it was written on the telephone pole, and so I think that whole night was orchestrated.
Yeah, maybe.
There's a lot of shots of just so many signs, right? Like when they drive past going to the party, there's a lingering shot on the telephone pole.
And because there's
when they're at the party, right? It focuses in on the chopping of the nuts.
Yeah.
Calling back to at the funeral, like, does that candy have nuts in it? Like, clearly she has an allergy that's not specifically stated, but it's given to us in these small different ways.
Show, don't tell. It's beautiful. Right? He doesn't have to. And that is the other part, being someone who has an EpiPen and who does have severe allergies. How the fuck do you send your, what was she? We think she's like 12. Something
she's
like
13.
That. 13.
Did they say 13? Okay.
Yep.
You send her out.
I was wondering that.
You send her out with her older pothead brother, going to a party, a high school party, and you don't bring an EpiPen. You don't have a contact number. You don't know where she is or what she's doing. There's no What? And also, like, she's 12 and she doesn't know. Dude, my kids' friends, 13. Everyone has 13. Sorry, my kids' friends. This is 2026. Everyone has an allergy to some shit, dude. You can't even bring peanut butter into school. And my kids' friends come to my house, and I know to look at the ingredients before I give it to them. Hold on, Joel, but they know before I even do that.
Right.
They ask me, "Can I see Can I see the thing?" Charlie is definitely.
You're definitely, and like the crazy thing with that is, it's not like she has I get itchy if I eat
I break out in hives.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, my throat closes up. Dude, that's one of the most, talk about the horrifying, many horrifying scenes. Oh, her throat's closing up. He throws her in the car. He's driving fast. She's in the backseat clawing at her closing throat. Oh, man, dude. Man.
The two of you, Jeannie and Sledd and the listeners, I had to do that shit for Jesse.
Yeah.
What did he eat this time?
He got stung by a bee.
I got stung by a bee. Yeah.
Oh,
and
that's right.
My hands swelled up like oven mitts. It was crazy.
All of a sudden, Jesse, who's a pretty lean guy, looked like the Michelin Man. Right? He was looking crazy.
It's not good. It's not good. Yeah, no, it's tough. There's I was looking at, I was trying to draw another parallel between like Charlie and Samuel in terms of the Franklin Award on who was more fucking who did you want to, who were you rooting for the death?
Samuel.
I didn't have
Samuel by
Charlie.
far.
Charlie has a little bit of charm.
She chopped the head off a fucking bird. She has charm.
That's weird.
You know what it is?
Charlie. When I was in kindergarten, I twisted the head off a dead bird I found and kept it in my pencil box.
You are a documented sociopath, Sled.
Fair enough. But
I didn't kill it. It was already dead. I just thought the skull was cool.
Here's what I'm saying is that Charlie is like the proverbial pig that they talk about or a dog they talk about in Pulp Fiction, where Charlie's got personality. Personality goes a long way. Right,
like one charming motherfucking pig, yeah.
Charming motherfucking pig, right? Like, because I will tell you, the other kid was Samuel. There's nothing charming about him at all. I mean, like,
no.
By the end, I'm trying
to fuck up.
Yeah, I'm trying to forgive him by the end for being so obnoxious because he saves his mother, right? Like, but it's hard. I still kind of want to choke.
We agree he's supposed to be special needs, right?
No,
not.
He's an asshole.
No, you know what? No, Sled might be onto something because there's a discussion between the mother and her sister. I think at the birthday party, they sort of allude to something not being right with him more, and you're left to your own imagination whether that's the result of this trauma, which he didn't experience, but he experiences through his mother, at least from his earliest memories. But like
how old is he? He's supposed to be 6?
7? Yeah.
Oh, the actor was 6, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, the character is 7, and
I've got a good one.
There's
for you.
Maybe he turned 7 in it.
She's trying to because it's the cousin's birthday, so his is like around that. That would be his 7th.
So,
but there. Hold on, Joel. There's something about this school. We're going to take him out of class, and we're going to have him a special person who's going to be with him.
They just said a monitor. They were going to have a monitor with him.
Right.
I mean, just the way he acted seemed like he needed a lot of like care. Like he didn't seem like a regular kid, right? Like I mean,
he might have been on an IEP.
Definitely on an IEP.
And he did a good job of not. I mean, even though I know like 7-year-old kids and 6-year-old kids are really little, like he acted like he was like 3 is what I felt like. He felt to me like he was more like a toddler the way he acted.
Seemed very young.
And she seems compelled to keep him quote unquote normal. She in fact is like, well, I'll just fucking pull him out of school then, but we're not putting him in some special program with a monitor. Like she wants him to be mainstreamed, and he's not. He needs help.
I watched a little, I don't know, it was 15 or 20 minute interview with the director about, the movie and the ideas behind it and all that. But one of the little stories she shared was about the making of. So the scene that you've talked about a couple of times, Jesse, where it's like the, why don't you eat your shit or whatever, where she's looming over him and basically just walking up and down him, right? That scene, they actually shot it because, if you look at it, you never see the two of them at the same time, right? So they took the mother, I forget her name offhand, but they took the mother and they had her, what was that?
Amelia.
They took Amelia, the mother, and they put her in a totally separate scene to shoot the one that we saw. But the one that they put the kid in, they didn't want him to be abused by the shooting of the scene and getting scolded by this lady.
Yeah.
So what they did, he really liked Legos, right? So what she was actually saying to him, where he's having these huge reactions, gigantic facial expressions as a 6-year-old, was I'm going to take your Legos and I'm going to take him and squish him and then throw him outside. And he's like, no, right? Yeah. It was pretty interesting.
There's another theme there that stuck out to me, or at least a similarity between the two movies, was the mother and the Babadook at various points when he's sleeping in bed with her, or when he reaches out to she's squatting down and he reaches out to hug her, she physically shirks off his touch. She takes his hand off of her neck and his foot off of her leg, and she doesn't want to be touched. And then the same thing, or similarly in Hereditary, the mother never touches the son, never touches Peter, never embraces him, never hugs him, is disgusted and irritated by the idea of it. And I recall, there's postpartum depression, then there's postpartum psychosis, right? And there's also the idea, which I know is a real thing, and I know people who have experienced it, is, after you give birth and you're raising a child, whether you're embracing your husband or your kid or both kids, or everyone is touching you at all times. You're breastfeeding, you're holding them, they're on you, they're kicking you, they're grabbing your hair, all of this. At some point, I know someone who was like, I just didn't want to be touched anymore.
Yeah.
And that's palpable in the Babadook, and it's palpable in Hereditary. These women have had enough, and maybe there's some postpartum issues going on. Maybe there's psychosis with Babadook. You don't know, but all of it boils down to they don't want to be touched anymore, and they're whatever compassion or empathy or love or any of that is there is dried up. It's siloed off from their children, which is what makes it so fucked up.
That makes me think, there's no dad they mention in Hereditary that I missed, right? Of Toni Collette's character. She
grandfather?
No, he starves himself to death.
That's right.
He's schizophrenic and he dies of starvation. Look, what's happening was
he's not present largely in the thing. And and the mother in Babadook, she doesn't have there's no parents present in that,
family.
Right?
No
she didn't
family.
have, she's got her sister, but she doesn't have, there's no mother or father, and the dead father's parents are totally uninvolved also. So it's almost,
right.
I think that's intentional.
She has no support.
Right? It's something unsaid in both of them, that it this product that you're getting here is Hereditary is very on the point with the name and stuff, but it's going on in the Babadook as well. It's just they don't make as much of a point of it. It's more something that you think about as you're watching it, is this lady has no support systems essentially around her.
And it's interesting. No, that's a great point, Sled. And it's interesting in Hereditary specifically, talking about that family tree and what's going on. The Toni Collette has a brother who dies by suicide. And leaves a note behind blaming his mother, the grandmother, saying she was trying to put people inside of me. Do you remember that turn of phrase? I mean, she was trying to invoke the demon, the Paimon, for him. So he wasn't crazy.
So Mother was like the original Charlie. Toni Collette's character was that the intent was to put her into her brother and for him to be the new vessel, but then when he killed himself, it didn't work out.
Yes, you're right, Michael. And I had a question for you about that kind of idea. Does Hereditary have a cosmic horror element to it, in that the participants in the story have no ability to really affect the outcome? Right? Like, no matter what they do, payment's coming. Right? Like, maybe it'll be the next generation, hence Hereditary. Right? Or is it the generation after or the generation after? But, like, it's of no real consequence. You're not beating payment. Right? Like, even if they had stopped everything, payment wouldn't have stopped. It would have continued on. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Do you agree with that, Sledd?
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking. Yeah, and I'm just thinking, there's something about, I think, just an overall statement of inevitability with dealing with some of those, with the things that are going on in it. Like, you can't avoid them. There's nothing you can do to make them go away in general. Like, the grief and stuff that they're all dealing with. Like, it's not something that you can just not, you can't just escape it. Like, you have to deal with it either way. It's inevitable, no matter how much you try and put it out of your head or anything like that. Yeah, and I don't know. I was also thinking on Hereditary, if there's something. I mean, it's interesting because it's like they're both essentially mothers who are trying to put their sons onto their daughters into their sons. It's like they don't like their sons as much, and they like their daughters, but they want their daughters to be their sons as well. I don't know. It's like I'm not sure how to describe it.
No, it's a fucked up
I don't think
dynamic.
It's coincidental that the mother in the Babadook her child is a son also. And it's kind of like to some extent, he's the representation of her grief for her husband. And so it's like the Babadook is like, that's the monster she's looking at all the time, is him as that.
Yeah. Yeah. But then also in Hereditary, Charlie says at some point, Grandma said she wished I was a boy, or I should have been a boy. And that's very pointedly made. All of that to try to get Paimon to enter that body. Yeah, no, I mean, these are the points of the movie that really get to you and stick with you. Is just, they're real situations with your, with family, as far as the emotions behind loss and trauma and grief, and circling those and trying to come to terms with them. And then you add in all the other fucked up elements and conversations that Astor puts in that the Babadook's director puts in, and these awful things they say to their kids and that are said over the dinner table or in front of the TV. I mean, she cuts the cord from the phone so he can't call anyone. I mean, just really fucked up stuff. She drugs him to go to sleep with the meds that she gets from the doctor. And she there's actually a would-be love interest in the Babadook, right? Her coworker at the nursing home, the young guy, and he comes to her house because he thinks her son was sick that day, right? But she's just like not sending her kid to school anymore, and she says something to the effect of like, "Oh, he still believes in monsters. Can you believe that a 6-year-old or a 7-year-old believing in monsters?" I'm like, yeah, dude, That sounds perfectly age appropriate. One, but two, you're a fucking bitch. Like, why would you say that to this guy? And he's actually, because he's a good dude, that for him is enough of a red flag that she doesn't have compassion and empathy for her own child, that he just sort of is like, he brings flowers over or something. And he's just like, okay. And then he's just had enough and he walks off. Like, good on you. Yeah. Deuces. Fucking, who would want to get mixed up with her? So there's enough blame and slices of the pie to go around in both movies for almost all of the characters. Just tough watching. I could rewatch Hereditary more because it's got the crazy shit going on, like Joel said, with her on the ceiling, and it gets a little more traditional horror toward the end as that whole thing comes to a climax.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's one of the common struggles for a lot of psychological horror is how to wrap things up without going that route eventually in the end. Like, it's like, because I feel like both of them to some extent, Babadook probably more than Hereditary, like for a long part of it, it's like you're in kind of a unreliable narrator thing to where it's like, you're not sure if this is like, you know, it's not done quite as well as Daniel isn't real, but you know, it's still pretty good.
God, I hate you so much.
But like,
it's the audacity to bash Hack-O-Lantern and then sit here and talk about
it. Yeah, but in the end, it usually trends to go to like similar to Daniel isn't real. It's like, well, Daniel is fucking real. Like, that's always the end result. Like. Which I don't know. It's hard to do. I think it's very unpleasing to audiences. I mean, it can be hard to appreciate an unreliable narrator thing when it's really carried to the full climax of a piece of fiction. I think you can, but it's also, you're kind of like, what the fuck at the end of it? Like, I haven't seen it in movies so much, but I've seen it in books that I've read where they keep like an unreliable narrator thing all the way to the end, and even at the very end you're not sure, like, I don't fucking know what happened in this, like, kind of thing. Like, so, and movies are meant to make money, so I think that maybe is part of it, and you got a lot of different people in there telling you what is going to happen and how things need to be done and making you rewrite stuff. So
I feel like the end of the Babadook, the way they tied it up, and it was, oh, it's actually just the friends we made along the way kind of deal, right? It's just grief, and all we got to do is stand up and give our Care Bear stare, and it will go away.
Well, I mean, I think it's supposed to be a metaphor that like the grief is always with you. It's kind of buried, and they're feeding it worms is kind of like, I don't know, you feed worms to your grief with people who are buried in the ground also in some certain ways, and that's like how you deal with it. It's like going to the cemetery and dealing with it. I mean, are you feeding the worms there to some extent at that point? I don't know. And then that makes it go away for a little while, or soothes it, I should say.
Right.
By standing up to it. Whereas if you like don't deal with it at all, then it just gets bigger and bigger.
Yeah, but I get the conceit. It just felt like a one-trick pony kind of deal, which is why for me it wasn't rewatchable.
Yeah, I can see that.
Because the horror wasn't really real in the way that I wanted it to be, where in Hereditary it's figurative, it's theoretical, but then it's very real and physical, and that to me was more horrific, you know.
Although I did really like also I thought the monster creation for the Babadook was pretty creative and something different than.
Yeah, did you get a chance to Google that? I can't recall off the top of my head.
Man in the Beaver Hat in London After Midnight is like what the design comes from.
Yeah, and I saw some pics of that, and it was really creepy.
And it does look like, but I think it was like the style of how they executed not just the monster itself as much as like the artwork and stuff in the books, like it was creepy looking. Like it was
the book was scary.
My kid fucking brought that up. Where the fuck did you get that? No, he's leaving. He's going. Well, not coming in the house. We
have another one, right? The book in the book of incantations and spells or whatever that Joan gives, right? And that the mother tries to get rid of by throwing in the fire, and in Babadook she tries to get rid of by ripping it up, burning it, leaving it, right? and they can't get rid of the book in either of the films. It shows up on your doorstep, or you'll fucking burst into flames if you throw it in the fire yourself. So that's another connective point for both of them.
Yeah, I mean, that's always fucking incinerates her fucking husband.
I was gonna say Dean Keaton bites it on the worst way, man.
That's an amazing scene.
She knew that was gonna happen because I think she thought that she was going to.
Yeah.
Because the last time she caught fire.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Well, yeah, no,
and
you're
that's
right.
why she was asking him to do it because she knew like she was gonna catch fire, and when she did it and he caught fire, it was kind of like, oh fuck, you done fucked up.
Well, now she gets the same accidental death that her son experienced with her daughter, right? Like what goes around comes around. So she ended up with the same fate. Dude, it's so fucked in so many ways, man. That poor kid Peter too ends up becoming fucking in the classroom when he's first sort of possessed, and he looks into like
his brains out. Yeah.
Oh God, man.
I love that reflection when he looks at his reflection and the reflection smiles.
And it's like it's like a menacing, mocking smile.
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, what would you do if that would be it for me. My God.
What's that?
Dude,
if you just looked at yourself in the mirror, you were just like sitting there in class or anywhere, and you looked in the mirror and and the mirror reflection was making a face you weren't making. Oh, that'd be it. That'd be it.
The upside down.
Yes. Oh God. All right. Do we want to get some ratings in here?
Yeah.
1 to 5, 5 being the best, 1 being the worst. How many cleavers did you give it? Joel, you want to lead off, then Jeannie, I'll go, and then Sled, you can close it out.
Sure, I'll make mine quick and easy. For Babadook, I'd give it a 4. I think it's a really solid movie. But like not quite as much as I want, not quite as scary or gory as I want from a 5-level horror movie. I'd give Hereditary like a 4.6. I mean, it's pretty wild. So that's me.
Jeannie, what do you got?
Yeah, I think Hereditary. I think out of the two, I think I like Hereditary better. I still love that kind of folk horror, which is there's a little tiny bit in there with like Paimon.
Yeah.
Which I always dig. So I'm gonna go 4.2 for Hereditary. I thought Babadook was good. I hadn't seen it before, so I kind of went in not really knowing about it, and I think using the Babadook as kind of the image of grief or the personification of grief. I liked how that was. I mean, as someone who's also familiar with grief and grieving, I was kind of like, oh yeah, I'm getting it. And I'm gonna give it a 3.99.
Very nice. Yeah, I had similar views on the Babadook. I did feel like it was a one-trick pony. Once you understand the reveal, for me, it's not that rewatchable, and it loses a little bit of that edginess for the scare factor. Like when I first watched it, when they're in bed trying to sleep, and this thing's in the fucking closet, and it's, I don't know, that stuff was super scary. But then after that, not much for me. I'd give it a 3.0222 meat cleavers. For Hereditary, it ties together so many different threads. It says so many things. It was more ambitious and multifaceted. And Astor does everything so right. He drops you so many Easter eggs, and they're not meaningless just to show off for its own sake. They actually are relevant to the plot and to the storyline. I would give it a 4.666 meat cleavers for me. What about you, Sled?
Yeah, I don't know. I'd go back and forth on which one I would rate higher. I think I'd give them both probably like 4.5. I wonder how much you think the Babadook being prior to Hereditary influenced Hereditary as far as some of the stuff that's going on in it. I do think, Hereditary's got a little more, definitely more going on plot-wise than the Babadook. So that's one of the weaker points for Babadook compared to it for sure, is that it's just not as complex of a plot. From just like what's actually happening here, just being entertaining as a story is more so on Hereditary than Babadook for sure. They both get rated super well. Like they're both 90 critically percentage, which is like, that's kind of one of the things. Like I was reading the Wikipedia page for the Babadook, and it's like it's become a cult classic, and it's like, well, it's not really a cult classic. It was super well regarded when it came out. Like it's not like it had to develop a following later on or something. So,
well, I think because there wasn't a ton of money in it, where it wasn't a big production, that kind of maybe it sort of outperformed itself. You know,
I mean, it didn't make Hereditary made a lot of money. Babadook didn't make. It made its money and made like 10 million to 2 million budget, but.
And the other Hereditary made $80 million on a, let's see, I think I have it right here, on a $10 million budget, and Babadook made $10 million on a $2 million budget. A lot of that, the Babadook, is because it's one location. Right, like it's almost entirely in the house.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So it makes it a lot easier.
Have any of y'all
like
seen?
It's very tight. The cast is very tight. Right. There's not a lot of characters.
Yeah.
No, that's true.
You've only got the didactic of the mom and the son, where you've got more of the family in Hereditary.
Yeah.
Did any of y'all see the Babadook's director's follow-up movie to that? The Nightingale? I haven't seen it either. I don't know.
You know, I had a friend who, when I was telling him that we were going to cover these two for the show, he mentioned that one, The Nightingale, as if it were like her other.
Yeah, it looks like it got reviewed well, but it didn't make shit for money. Like,
I'd give it a watch. It certainly just judged on this.
A budget of $2 million and a box office of $988,000. So, but it got nominated for a bunch of awards and stuff. But obviously, the guy Ari Aster is a talented guy. He made Midsommar like the year after this, right?
Yeah. What is he? Do we have anything else in the pipeline for him? I feel like we do. Ari Aster.
He had a couple movies come out this year. It looks like Eddington, which I didn't see.
Yeah, I haven't seen that yet. And he did Beau Was Afraid, or...
Yeah.
Okay. I've seen the covers for Beau Was Afraid, but I haven't. Just the look of Joaquin Phoenix on the cover and the makeup and the face he's making, it made me not want to watch it.
I can't blame you, Sled. I can't blame you. All right, let's wrap this guy up. Thanks once again for joining us here on Chopping It Up. We hope you appreciate and enjoyed the conversations that we've had. We do have several things in the pipeline here coming up for you, which we will reveal at a later date, but rest assured we're in the lab cooking up something good. So please join us next time. Thanks once again for listening.